Okay, so now let's start shifting towards the teaching bit. And how is it that we can teach? Okay, so we don't have days, and big teaching instruction takes a long time, but we are going to look at some specific kinds of strategies that you can use to start helping your child learn to use some skills, and also how you can use some specific teaching strategies to encourage increasing independence over time, okay? So like I mentioned this morning, this also is not magic, but it does take some work, right? So there's a bit of effort to it, but you can get good outcomes when you put in the effort to teach. We can't expect that anybody is going to know how to do any task without some instruction. So you don't know how to clean up unless somebody teaches you. You don't know how to empty the dishwasher unless somebody teaches you. You don't know how to shop for groceries unless somebody teaches you. So we've all learned these things, right, through our own experiences. We all learned. And we need to teach this to whoever it is that we're either raising, if it's our own children, or supporting if we're working with children as our profession and we're supporting children in their family homes. What we know about kids with ASD or other developmental disabilities is that they might need some more specific instruction and support, right? So for lots of us, we probably didn't get really in-depth instruction on, say, grocery shopping. We probably got hauled to the grocery store with our parents. I remember being really little, and one of my earliest memories is sitting on the little bottom rack of the grocery cart while my mom drove the cart up and down the aisles, and I watched her, and in the olden days with a calculator, calculating costs of things and doing price comparison. And I kind of watched her do things, and then I got a little bit older and I walked alongside the cart. And again, I watched while she did shopping, and I helped pick things off the shelves, and she talked to me about what she was doing and why she was choosing this over that. And I learned stuff. So I sort of learned incidentally. Most kids with autism or other developmental disabilities aren't going to learn those skills incidentally. We're going to have to teach them more explicitly. We're going to need to make it really clear what it is that we're teaching and sort of go through the steps. So just watching you do things is probably not going to be enough. Listening to you explain a task is probably not going to be enough. You're going to need to use some specific teaching strategies to help them acquire those skills through practice, right? Through actual engagement. That's how most of our kids with autism or other developmental disabilities are going to acquire these kinds of skills. It's through practice. It's through doing, okay? So there are a bunch of basic teaching strategies and a few in particular that I want to just talk about this afternoon. I want to talk about the use of modeling because we can use modeling effectively to varying degrees. So I'm going to talk about how we can be good models. And then I'm going to talk about shaping new behaviors. It's a fancy term, but I'm going to talk about what that means. And then we're going to talk about prompting and different kinds of prompts, and then also how to fade those prompts away. Because if we don't fade prompts away, we end up teaching individuals to be dependent rather than independent, okay? So when we're thinking about modeling, we can either do live modeling. I'm actually going to do the task right along beside you, and you're going to watch me, and we're going to do it together, okay? Now, like I said, not all individuals with autism or developmental disabilities learn really well from live modeling. Sometimes what we're doing, we do it a bit too fast. We're not explicit enough in what we're doing. So we can do some things with our modeling to help make it a little bit easier. We can get rid of some of the distractions. Right? So get rid of other stuff in the environment so that, kids aren't paying attention to everything, but they're kind of just paying attention to what we're doing. And then slow down and don't talk so much. That's the other thing. And I'm a talker, right? But surprisingly, when I am working with kids, I'm really pretty good about shutting my mouth. It is surprising, but I can do it. And so stop talking and let your kids focus on what you're doing. And slow down and show them step by step, okay? And then we'll talk in a bit about how you can also prompt while you model, right? So you might model a step and then prompt them to do a step. You model the next step, you prompt them to do the next step, and so on and so on, Okay, so helping to kind of slow down the process and give your child some time, because lots of times that's what our children need. They need some more time to kind of, first of all, recognize that, oh, you're showing me how to do something. Okay, I need to pay attention. Okay, got it. Okay, now, oh, okay, that's a step, and you want me to do that. Okay. Give them some time to actually see what you're doing. I mean, because if we're folding clothes, if we're vacuuming, we just kind of go about the work and don't think about it, right? So really slow yourself down. The other thing you can look at in terms of modeling is video modeling, okay? And in terms of the research literature, which I've not talked about a lot today, but it's all kind of behind everything that I've talked about, the research literature for video modeling is quite strong, especially when we're talking about learners with autism. They do tend to do better with video modeling than live modeling. And if you think about it, it does kind of make sense. One, video models are often shown on things like tablets, iPhones, things like that. So these are devices that are already really interesting and reinforcing for them. So they're a bit more interested to watch. But with video models, they can watch over and over again. They can pause. They can go back and look again. And so oftentimes video models will provide sort of that extra exposure that lots of learners with autism or developmental or intellectual disabilities find really helpful, okay? So certainly if video modeling is something that you think might be appropriate for your child, talk to the people that you're working with. Talk to your behavior consultants, your behavior analysts, the other people that are providing you with support, and ask them for help. There are video models out there that you can purchase and use, but those are not the kinds of video models that are actually supported by the research. All of the research that's been done on video models has been done on individualized video models. So video models that have been made specifically for a learner. Whereas those kinds of commercially available video models are very, very generic. And they also tend to have a lot of talking over them, which is really not useful. And what we end up finding is that kids do the activity and script the talking that happens, which isn't really what we want them to do. We want them to do the task, not script the video, okay? So it's much better for you to make your own video and put it together. And thankfully, it's not like the old days when I started making video models with huge VHS cameras and then having to edit them on 2 VCRs, which was not fun. We all now are walking around with tools that allow us to make video models and edit video models and play video models, okay? So if you're a little bit older and maybe you don't feel that you have the necessary skill, right? And there are lots of us who don't feel that we have the necessary skill to make video models. Talk to other people that you know. Talk to teenagers, right? This is a great project for high school aged folk, right? So, are there other children in a school that could help you with this? Do you have teenagers in your family who could help you with this? Because those are the people who could really quickly kind of edit up a video for you. And essentially what you want to do is go back to doing that task analysis. Pick the skill that you want to teach, break it down into the individual steps, make a video, edit that video, and then allow your learner, your child, to watch that video, right? So I have a young man who's learning to shave, and so I asked Dad, can you video record yourself shaving? And so he, yeah, okay, fine. So Mom actually stood with their phone and video recorded Dad shaving, and then they sent it to me, and I clipped some things out, edited it up, turned it into a video model for their son, sent it back to them. They put it on their son's device, and they have him watch it fairly regularly, a couple times a day initially, and they'd have him watch it just before he shaved. And then he also had a visual checklist of the body parts that he needed to shave so that he hit everything. And he goes through and he's shaving fairly well right now, right? He needs a little bit of sort of follow-up. Ooh, you missed a spot here, so that he can go back and finish up. But by and large, he's shaving almost completely independently, right? And it was mostly a video model where he learned that from, okay? So think about the use of video models. They can be really helpful. In terms of shaping, so shaping is this behavior analytic term. It's a procedure that we use, so it sounds really fancy. It's not that fancy. Really what it means is that rather than expecting the world from your child, rather than expecting perfection from day one, you reward smaller steps, okay? So if your child is here, reward here, right? Reward slightly better than what your child is doing now. And then when your child achieves that skill level, then expect a little bit better and reward a little bit better. And then when they're good at that level, expect slightly more. So it's really just about, rather than you have to be perfect before you get a reward, it's like, no, we're going to start where you are right now. And I'm going to ask you to be a little bit better than you are right now, and you'll get rewarded for that. And then when you're pretty good at that new level, I'll ask you to do a little bit more. So it's gradual progress towards sort of your final goal until you get all the way there, okay? So if we're thinking about shaping, putting away cutlery, okay? Maybe we start with put away one fork and you're done. So there goes the fork, done. Then it might be put away 2 forks. Put away 2 forks, done. Get iPad time. Then we're thinking about put away 3 forks. You put away 3 forks, all done, great job, you get iPad. And eventually we get from 1 fork, 2 fork, 3 fork, a little bit more, until we have all of the silverware from the dishwasher and we're putting it all away in order to get iPad time. So that's what shaping looks like. Start small, expect a little, and then expect a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until you get to where the whole job is being done, okay? You can also do this in a time-based sort of fashion. So if it's a task that you want your child to do, let's say dusting, because I'm using dusting a lot, maybe because I need to do that at home myself. Maybe rather than expecting your child to do all of the dusting that might take 20 minutes, expect 1 minute. 1 minute of dusting and you're done, it's over. And when you're really good at 1 minute of dusting, then I'm going to ask you to do 2. You're really good at doing 2 minutes of dusting, okay, good. Then we'll add it to 3. And gradually increasing more time until your child is doing the entire task and completing the entire task. So the real key to shaping then is to start where your child is at and make sure that your child is successful, right? So don't ask more than your child can reasonably do. Right? The whole deal about reinforcement is that to get a reinforcer, you have to do whatever it is that you've been asked to do. If you can't do the task successfully, then you never get rewarded for the task. If you never get rewarded for the task, you're never reinforced, and that task isn't likely to happen again. But if you do the task to a lesser degree of perfection, but you do it to the degree you've been asked, and you get rewarded, you're more likely to do that task again and again and again. And if we're really gradual in dialing up our expectations, our child will move along with that, right? And so we'll gradually increase in terms of ability or completion, okay? So gradually increase your expectations around how much work, how much time, how much effort, or the level of difficulty. So start with a really low level of difficulty and gradually make it more difficult over time. And you always want to reward success. Great job, right? If at any point, as you're dialing things up, you dial up and your child stops achieving, it just means that you turned the dial up a bit too far. Just dial back down to where you were at before when your child was successful. And then as you dial up just a little less, okay? So if ever that happens, and it happens to all of us, we get really excited. The kid's progressing, is doing so well, so we go, all right, let's go. And we sort of really ratchet up the expectations, and the kid kind of, goes into shock. Can't do that. And they stop doing. Just dial down your expectations and then move a little bit more gradually. Don't get so excited, okay?